downtown Durham, car stunts, lighting things on fire, and spectators there to watch it all go down. Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Megan Glova. Now, police are trying to put a stop to this, but are facing setbacks. WRAL Investigates Sarah Krueger looked into this and joins us now with those details. Sarah, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So can you first describe the surveillance video we got a hold of?
Yes, so it is very wild surveillance video, truly unlike anything that I have ever seen. It's surveillance video from downtown Durham, from right outside the Durham Bulls Stadium. You know, very busy, popular part of town, busy both for cars and pedestrians. This video, taken at night in the dark, but it shows a number of cars descending on the intersection one by one, pulling up onto the sidewalk, eventually blocking the entire intersection, and lots of people outside of their cars, just kind of having a street party. You see someone with a mask on get a gas canister, pour it in a circle in the middle of the street, light it on fire. There are cars doing stunts and donuts, around these flames as people are hanging out of the car windows. Smoke is filling the air. Tons of people with their cell phones out, walking right up to this, just feet away from all of the car stunts, just right in harm's way if one little thing would have gone wrong. And then eventually police do come and you see people scatter. But yeah, very, very crazy video. And we will have the raw video of all that posted online on WRAL.com with this story.
Right. Yeah. It looks super dangerous. It sounded super dangerous. And, you also showed the video to the mayor. What was his reaction to it?
Yeah, so the mayor actually lives in downtown Durham, and he lives really close to where this happened. And so he had heard it that night, but he didn't really know what it was.
Oh, okay.
And I met up with him and I showed him the video and said, this is what you were hearing. And I mean, his jaw dropped. He was stunned and then also really mad, just to see, the city and the city property being treated in this manner. And adamant that this is not okay in Durham, this is not welcome in Durham, and that police have his full support to stop this.
Right. And with that being said, I mean, I know you mentioned that in the video we saw police get there, but how are they addressing gatherings like this, maybe even before they happen or once they see it happening?
Yeah, so they have a sergeant who is assigned to these cases, who's very knowledgeable, and this is one of his main areas. So he is very immersed in the inner workings of this and the social media aspects of it, and in the video, and really digging into these investigations. And they will do operations. They did one recently, actually, that was with some other agencies where they arrested 9 individuals. So they, will have these nights of enforcement when they, have intel that there's going to be something happening. But the sergeant who I interviewed for this story, Sergeant John Wagstaff, he also mentioned, and we know that the Durham Police Department, like many others, is very understaffed, and that is complicating the extent to which they can investigate all of this, because it is very labor-intensive investigative work to, I can only imagine, track down license plates and more surveillance video and, really dig into all of this with so many people who are there. So they are doing the best they can with the resources that they have. But he did mention that, that staffing is certainly an element that is limiting.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And something interesting I saw Sergeant Wagstaff mention to you was the role social media plays in these events, maybe in terms of the size, how big they get. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so definitely social media is the way that these meetups are organized. And so that's, a primary form of communication. But then even beyond that, Sergeant Wagstaff was saying that social media is a motivating factor for even participating in this or, performing these stunts to begin with, that a lot of this is motivated by getting cool videos and getting views on those videos and likes on social media. And from watching the surveillance video, you do get that sense that some of the participants are really like putting on a show.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned that a lot of people had their phones out recording it, and presumably that's recording it for social media and like for the entertainment value of it. And then, just furthering that, one odd thing in the video is that one of the participants has on a full-on inflatable dinosaur suit and is hanging out the window of one of these cars doing the stunts wearing this dinosaur suit. And Sergeant Wagstaff, who has also seen all of this video, said that's just one more example of how this is like a game or an entertainment for some of the people who participate.
Right. And it's not. It's very dangerous, as we can see. And luckily, no one got hurt during this, right? As far as we know.
As far as we know, not in this incident, but I mean, there's definitely a history of these meetups in Durham being super dangerous. We have covered, it was last summer, death at one of these events in Durham County in the RTP area. Someone hanging out the window, according to a search warrant, they were hanging out the window and filming the stunts, and they fell out and got run over and died. And then there was also late last year an officer-involved shooting at one of these car club meetups where an officer shot an armed teen, and that officer has been cleared by the district attorney of, any possible criminal charges. It's found to have been a justified shooting. But, yeah, just examples of the known dangers of these meetups.
So, Sarah, Sergeant Wagstaff also told you about the street takeover law. What is it and what change might it bring?
Yeah, so that is a state law that's been in effect since December of 2023, and it makes it a misdemeanor on first offense to take over a street with these types of stunts, and then it makes it a felony on second offense, or a felony after that first offense. So Sergeant Wagstaff was saying, this is probably the best hope that they have, like the strongest law that they have to really try to put a stop to this. But he said it hinges on getting that first conviction, because really what they need to, he feels like make traction on stopping this is felony charges. And so it's only a felony on the second conviction or later. So they need those first convictions of the misdemeanors so that the second time around it can be a felony, because as he was explaining to me, it's a lot of the same people and the same groups participating over and over. And, he even mentioned that these people travel the state and travel the country doing this exact same type of thing. So people who are based in Durham will travel to Virginia or Philly or Baltimore, and then likewise other people in those cities will come to Durham for this. So these meetups are, crossing state lines.
Yeah, and I saw you cover that one meetup organizer was charged last summer, but it was dismissed. What did you find out from the Durham DA about that?
Yeah, so Sergeant Wagstaff mentioned that in our interview that police last summer had charged this man who they believed to be one of the main organizers of these various car club meetups. The Durham district attorney dismissed the charge. And so I reached out to her, to DA Satana DeBerry, to ask for an explanation, to ask why that charge was dropped. And I got three different responses. So first, she said it was because this individual was under 21 and had no criminal record. But I had looked up his criminal record, and I knew that was not true, that he actually did have a criminal record. He had multiple felony convictions. So I followed up and, pointed that out. And then she responded and said, actually, it was dismissed, allowing him to do an 8-hour driving school, remedial driving course instead. And then the third time she emailed me, she admitted that actually the assistant district attorney on the case did not follow the office policy with how this case was handled. And she said that assistant DA has been retrained, and she called this case an outlier and wanted to stress that overall her office does take these cases seriously.
Okay. And, any updates on charges related to the video we were sent, or maybe just more recent incidents?
Yeah, so from the video that is in my story, which is from February, downtown Durham, police say that they are intending to file charges very soon. They have at least 18 people identified from the video. So I will keep following up with them, but I expect some action there very soon.
Okay, Sarah, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download. You might be listening to this podcast on WRAL.com or the WRAL News app, but you can also find it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Follow the show so you don't miss an episode. I'm Megan Glova. Thanks for listening.